Welcome back, adventurers, once again to Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. And in the last episode, a lot happened. Quite a lot happened. First up, it turns out that Misaki Tsunomiya is the one in charge of the operation being led by the Committee of 300 to launch a black hole bomb on the rocket ship that was being prepared at Tanegashima Space Center as the center point of Project Atum and later Project Mars. Not only that, every single soldier is armed with military-grade HUGs, whereas Misaki is wearing a specially designed HUG known as Kaminage, which fits with the Spider HUG Sumerage. And yet, even with everything else that's going on right now, hard as it is to believe, that is actually kind of the least of our problems, even though it's the forefront of our problems as well. I say this because Sawada at great length has been explaining to Kaito meticulously the whole convoluted yet not unclever scheme being threaded by the Committee of 300. The propaganda, the misinformation, the deliberate fake news, and also the digital imagery being used to create false scenarios and false realities in the form of the AR technology utilized by IUO. I also said in the last episode that if that were true, then even the Kimijima reports themselves would be called into question, since the solar storm that hit after November, the first one was actually real, that one that happened in November, but the one that hit recently, the one that caused all the major damage, was actually fake. Which, given that that's true, casts the authenticity of the Kou Kimijima reports into question and doubt, and ultimately suspicion. And I thought to myself, maybe they were published by the Committee of 300. Maybe, maybe we've been sent on a wild goose chase or something. But then Sawada mentioned allies and everything, about how many others who have witnessed the committee's atrocities firsthand, committee's atrocities firsthand, and ultimately decided to do something about it. And he has been in contact with these people, and so that led me to thinking, on that logic, the Kimijima reports hold up, they hold weight, they hold water. But as it turns out, I was right mostly the first time, except I didn't go far enough in my thinking and my logic processes. I didn't go far enough in suspecting the Kimijima reports, because it had never occurred to me that the author of said Kimijima reports, Mr. Kou Kimijima himself, was actually connected to all this far more intimately than I had previously thought. Yeah, there's a bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. Kou Kimijima, the very person who warned the world, or supposedly warned the world through the Kimijima reports about Project Atum and Project Mars. Yeah, he's the mastermind behind the whole thing. That's the only logic that now makes sense. But DM, I hear you ask. Kou Kimijima was murdered 10 years ago. You know, how is this possible? Well, there is a little something called faking one's death, and it seems like Kou Kimijima pulled it off without a hitch. That leads me to another point that it's only just hit me right now. If the Kou Kimijima, well, the cleverness of the Kimijima reports is that they contained a lot of truth in them. But it was their very topicality that should have made them suspect right from the get-go, which is something straight out of the plot of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Yeah, and all that and the rest, but that's a reference I can only appreciate and understand, or rather a connection rather than a mere reference, but I digress. But on that thread of logic, we also have to call into question the leaked gun barrel episode as well, since the Grand Obelisk that manifested is also an augmented reality figment rather than a real genuine structure, courtesy of the silent weapon devices. And that brings into mind another unsettling revelation. The 13 staff members who died, who worked on the Gunbarrel anime, but also the director. Yeah, the fact that I'm now back with Frau, I really have a sinking feeling in my stomach, ladies and gentlemen, because if we call Kou into question, Kou Kimijima himself, there is one other person we also need to call into suspicion, and that is Frau Kojiro's mother, Minami Kogori herself, whom we have believed up until this point has been missing, but now, with everything that's been going on, I really have a sinking, gritting feeling about all this. After finally arriving upon the info, I chew on my nails in front of my monitor. Yeah, Frau's still holed up in her hotel. The information is as follows. The old Minimitane Community Center should be abandoned, but a company boarded it in secret and pays the electric bill. That should have been the red flags right off the bat. The EGI device kept in the basement. And more importantly, the cold sleep device that Kou Kimijima used to preserve Irie Yukifune's life. I had passed it off as being Kou Kimijima is a clever inventor. He's actually quite skilled with these technologies and stuff like that. But how did he acquire those technologies in the first place? Yeah, there were just so many things that should really have caught my attention beforehand. That just never sunk in at the time. And now I'm really regretting it, and that brings me to this final point, which is, I believe I owe the late Mizuka Irei a heartfelt apology. She was the one who believed that the Kou Kimijima reports were cursed, that Misaki Her personality changed since she met him and since he was supposedly murdered. Yeah, she even said to Kaito that the reports themselves were a curse. And we didn't believe her. We spat in her face, and now her blood is on our hands as much as it is Misaki's and Kou Kimijima's as well. A small company in Tokyo called Taiyo Development. Due to them paying the bills, the device used to make monopoles fall, the EM wave irradiation device continues to function. It's on the first floor of the building. Oh, and another thing. Kou Kimijima's vacation home. It was similarly abandoned, but Irutan's cold sleep device continued to function in the basement. I investigated who was paying the electric bill, and it seems a company called Commit had bought the old place. I wouldn't be a real ad channeler if I didn't immediately rush to investigate the two companies for anything in common. The Special Forces Division, aka just me, was fully mobilized. I stayed up all night to heavily look into things. I'm guessing this is Dash providing Frau with this essential information. As far as what I found, well, Taiyo Development is a construction/engineering firm. Comet Company is in the restaurant consultant industry, but they're both shell corporations. There are no buildings for them at the registered addresses. It was easy enough to investigate from Tanegashima using the Street View function in IIUO. Dummy corporations. While it initially looked like both companies had nothing in common, both being shell corporations instantly changed things. I thought that the company director for both companies might be the same person, but that wasn't the case. But as I did further research, I found that both companies received loans from a lease company called Hoshita. What kind of shell corporation would take out a loan, SMH? On top of that, Hoshita's special advisor was a deputy director and joint investor at the time of Happiness for You's founding. Their name is Hoshita Sakai. TLDR, the money used to maintain Kou Kimijima's crap on Tanegashima came from his old acquaintances via shell corporations.
熱い友情来たこれ。これは薄い本のネタにできるんだ。
Save that for later, Frau.
で、そんなわけあるか、そんなわけあるか。大事なことなので2回言いました。きな臭いにも程があるだろう。
Yeah, this is beyond fishy. Oh dear, I do not like the sound of that ring bell there, Frau. Someone pressed the intercom button outside. Is it the glass company? Ever since they replaced all the broken glass in November, a dealer comes by once a week. It's extremely annoying. I don't think it's the glass dealer, Frau. Nobody else should be dropping by. Yasho Senpai and Prez Senpai were in Tokyo doing scandalous things together, and Tracksuit Sensei went with them. Yeah, Frau doesn't want to know about the Tokyo Expo. Karate Senpai is screwed up mentally and Four Eyes can't move due to his busted leg. Okay, then who is it? It's not the pizza delivery person. Whoever they are, they're mad impatient.
フラウ、誰か客が来たみたいだぜ。出た方がいいって。元気に挨拶だ。
You should probably look at who it is, and then panic. Shut up, Genki-kun bot.
ほら、鳴ってるぜ。出るのが友達ってもんだろ。
Whoever is waiting for us down there, they're not friends.
インターホンカメラ表示して、ロゼッタタン。はい、
表示いたしますね。
The first floor entrance. I take a look at the camera feed, but nobody is there.
誰もいなくね。ピンポンダッシュは許さない。絶対にだ。
友達なら時にはぶん殴ることだって重要だぜ。
I don't think that we're gonna get that opportunity.
元気くんうるさい。
Uh-oh. It all happened instantaneously. The second I hear a gunshot outside my door, two men holding guns quickly come charging into the room. Without time to even make a sound, my arm gets twisted behind me and I'm pinned to the ground. Yeah, they're already on the island, and they've appeared far sooner than we anticipated. Yeah, there's really nothing that Frau can do in this situation.
動くな。声を上げれば殺す。
How rude. I can't even raise my head. Moving my neck even slightly causes an intense pain to run down my locked arm. I can't see what the men look like. It hurts too much and I'm too scared. I feel like I'm about to scream, but I grit my teeth and force myself not to.
フラウ、友達でも喧嘩するときはしていいんだぜ。
Genki-kun's carefree voice rings throughout the room.
でも喧嘩の後は後腐れなく仲直りしろよな。
Not helping, Genki.
それでこそ本当の友達ってもん。
Someone smashes my Pokécom screen with the butt of their gun. Genki-kun goes silent on the broken screen.
ターゲット B を確保。拘束する。プリースト3、状況は？プリースト3、プリースト4、そちらの状況を知らせ。どうした？
It's like there's a problem.
見張りの2人が応答しない。
Interesting. The two men go silent in their confusion. They still have their guns pushed against the back. They still have their guns pushed against the back of my head. I'm scared shitless. My teeth are chattering with fear. I'm worried the sound will anger my captors, so I bite down as hard as I can. I'm biting down so hard that it feels like I'm going to stop bleeding.
ターゲット B を起こせ。出るぞ。起きろ。
They pull me up by the arm. Pain shoots through my joints, causing me to tear up.
プリースト3、プリースト4、応答しろ。プリースト3、どうしたんだ？
呼んでも出ないと思いますよ。
My arm is suddenly released and I hit the floor. Now on my hands and knees, I raise my head slightly. I look toward the entrance of my new room, where the new voice came from. And standing there is...
下にいた2人なら一眠りしてもらいましたので
Miss Tanoji herself, a savior. Tanoji-shi.
何者
Her movements almost light speed. Given how she acts normally, her current reaction speed is unbelievable. In a flash, she closes the distance between herself and the two strong men that had their guns raised. She slams her knee into the first man's face, riding her momentum primordial.
こんな
Unshaken by the fate of his comrade, the other man points his gun at Tanoji-shi. But she's already at his chest. She grabs the man's gun arm and spins around to his back, slamming her heel into his Achilles tendon. That's gonna hurt. As the man falls onto his back, Tanoji-shi drops her knee into his face without a moment's hesitation. The brawny man's body quivers for a moment before going limp.
そう
The man who suffered a knee to the face groans as he tries to get up, but Tanoji-shi is too fast for him. She plants a roundhouse kick into the defenseless man's jaw. Flawless victory. Yugo has taught you well, Mai. Learned well, Murasawa. Never mind the fact that Yugo may or may not be affiliated with certain people, loosely affiliated with CERN in the hierarchy of the Committee of 300. But that's not important right now. After all, infighting in organizations is to be expected. And just like that, both men are sprawled across the floor, unconscious. Holy shit, that was amazing. You took the words right out of my mouth there, Frau. How? How is she so strong? What was that just now? No matter how you look at it, she has to be a manga heroine. I'm not accepting any other answers. Thank you very much. Yeah. She's no longer the timid little child who, yeah. Let's just say that she's, yeah. She's seen her fair share of, these type of situations in the past. In a matter of seconds, she put down two heavily armed adult men without so much as a scratch. She's completely OP. I'm so incredibly excited that I sink to the floor with stars in my eyes.
男の人が2人がかりで女の子に暴力振るうなんて最低ですよ
As for Tanoji-san, she seems pretty upset. But as soon as she notices my gaze, she reverts to her usual self with a smile.
もう大丈夫です
That takes out 4 of them. There's still 9 left.
強いでしょお父さん直伝の格闘術なんですよ
Like I said, Yugo has trained you well.
さて ここからどう反撃したものか。
Hmm. I've no clue what's going on, but there is one thing I'm certain of.
あえて言おう、苗様であると。
Congratulations, Nai. You are now a summer promotion. Not exactly the Yuri type, but I'd be totally down to let Nai-sama have her way with me. Screw it, take me right now. Yeah, ignore that. Just, yeah.
君島こうが生きているだって。
Hmm. Unfortunately, elsewhere, yeah. Kaito is still gripping from revelations. Hmm. I would like to say that I may have kind of jumped the gun there in regards to Frau's mother's potential involvement, but we won't know for sure unless we find her, if we find her, or if she finds us. But either way, given what we've learned about Kou Kimijima from Sawada so far, that is, I'm no longer entirely hopeful that Frau's eventual family reunion might be a positive one. I'm no longer hopeful. But that is going to have to wait until the next episode. So when we return, yeah, dealing with this. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.